Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb is a pilot. And Barb Schlinker and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have got to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air Your Real Estate Voice every Saturday right after Larry Kudlow, 11 o'clock. If you can't find it or listen to the entire show, always available on Barb's site, barbhasthebuyers.com, or just search Barb on most of the popular podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. Every week, Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about your primary assets, that is your home. So, Barb, what are we going to be talking about today?
Well, Richard, I'm really excited about today's show. The first topic, I'm going to talk about what to do on Memorial Day and why are we celebrating Memorial Day? Why is it a holiday? And it's very near and dear to my heart, especially with regard to housing and investments, just because I know from being an Air Force, they call it a brat, where basically you're a dependent of the military. We had to travel around every 3 to 5 years. During those years, my parents really didn't get into buying or holding real estate because every couple of years they were going to have to move. And it's just with the income that they had, it's just too much risk to have a rental property far away. It's a little bit scary for people to do that. So they really didn't start investing in real estate until after my dad retired after 30 some years. And they did okay, but they didn't end up with a lot of wealth when they passed away. So I think it's a very important holiday. The reason my dad passed away is because he was exposed to Agent Orange while serving in Thailand and flying over North Vietnam or Vietnam rather. So it's a very important holiday for me, and I'm sure it's very important to all the people that serve in the military, or if you're related to somebody that serves, there's a lot of risk. So I'm excited about talking about this topic. And then also the next topic we're going to talk about is basically affordability of housing. And right now, with the prices being high, the interest rates being high, the buyers are actually having to make some concessions about things that were on their must-haves list are now moving to their want-to-have list. And so what is it that they give up to be able to afford to buy a home right now in this market? And then the third topic is really going to be about why people are taking cash offers. The actual title is Why Real Estate Investors Are Getting Back into Buying Homes. I don't know if you know this, but back during the boom, real estate investors, especially the big hedge funds and all these companies, they were coming in and paying a higher price cash than a live in the home buyer. And it was really hard for the live in the home buyers to compete against those buyers. And they're coming back again with some pretty strong offers. So we're going to go over that. And the last topic is about how to sell a home if you have a family member that owned a home and they passed away. We'll go into some details about some things that you should watch out for in that scenario. And also, I love talking about my hot new listings. Richard?
You always do. And they are, in fact, hot. Now, Barb, as most families get into the long weekend, what are most people doing to celebrate and to honor Memorial Day? And how does real estate factor into this weekend?
Well, Richard, this is a good weekend for people to shop the sales. They probably already started early. It's also a great weekend just to get away. If you ever drive up to Teller County during these long weekends, you'll see there's going to be a huge line for traffic. But it's so beautiful up there. It's worth it to sit in traffic for a little while, enjoy all the beauty that Colorado has to offer. But the reason why it's a national holiday, and it was originally tagged as Decoration Day, is because it was honoring and mourning the U.S. military personnel that died while serving in our country. And the thing that's striking to me is that very few people actually volunteer to serve. It is an all volunteer service. Right now, there's just over 2 million people that volunteered to serve in the military. To put that in perspective, there's 335 million people in the US that are citizens, and that is less than almost 1/2% of the population, a little bit more than that. So this weekend really is about honoring those who serve, who lost their lives, who really sacrificed and still sacrifice to be at risk to, going into danger in that situation. My husband regaled a story to me just this week about a young pilot serving down in training in Pensacola, sitting inside one of the training aircraft, which has an ejection seat. It was on the ground, and it's the first time I've ever heard of this kind of accident. The ejection seat went off and killed him.
Oh
So
my gosh.
it's very sad that that kind of thing happens. But there's a lot of risk to what military members do. They go to places they wouldn't normally go. They take risks that they wouldn't normally take. And the other part of this, and I was talking to one of my military members just last week during a closing. He said, we're having to go down to San Antonio, and the housing cost is basically the same. So we're kind of grateful we had a down payment to be able to get in the neighborhood that we could to buy our next home. And, that's part of it. They're serving, to get to retirement over 20 years, and they have to move around every 3 to 5 years. So it's really tough to kind of get roots and invest in real estate for military members. If you did buy a home in the last 4 or 5 years, the good news is our prices went up 40%. But if you're getting in right now, you're kind of at the high end of the market with high interest rates. And it makes it very challenging for our military members. I recently had a senior military member, active duty member, who really wanted to buy one of my listings that was priced fairly low, but it was in perfect condition. New roof, new furnace, new water heater, updated kitchens and baths, great neighborhood close to the base, priced in the low fours. He was this close to making an offer and competing with another buyer, but he elected not to do it because the payment was higher than his housing allowance. So what the military does is they give him base pay, which you really can't live on. If you decide not to take the housing allowance, they will give you housing on base. But if you're going to go out in town, you're either going to have to rent or buy. So most military members want to purchase a home and have their payment be less than their housing allowance. But it wasn't even close. It was close to double what his housing allowance would be. And that was after this young family, having served 17 years in the service and probably three more left before they could retire, couldn't afford to buy a home here. Yet they served our country all that time. And it doesn't seem right to me. I don't think they pay them enough. It's quite a sacrifice to do what they do. And that's one of the things that as a company we do. We give back to veterans causes. So if you refer us to anybody that wants to buy or sell a home, we will donate a larger portion to our worthy causes that we donate to, which are all veteran based. They are Wounded Warrior Project, Tunnel to Towers, Adopt a Platoon. There's a whole bunch more. Vet dogs. They provide service dogs for veterans that need it. So we think those things are very important to help veterans. So if you do know anybody that is thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900, or you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com, and we would love to take really good care of them. And for me, Memorial Day is really very personal. As I mentioned before, my dad passed away from complications from exposure to Agent Orange. He lived to be in his 80s, but I really felt like if it wasn't for that damage to his heart, he would have lived longer because he was very healthy, played golf a lot. It was just that one thing that took his heart out. Our son is currently serving in the Marines. I tried to talk him into joining the Air Force, but I'm just the mom. I don't get to choose those things. And he was actually in 2021 just one flight away from being assigned to the unit in Afghanistan that was helping all the people evacuate during that mess that Biden handled back in 2021. And we happened to be visiting him at the time, and I freaked out. I wasn't the brave Marine mom that I wanted to be, but I said, I don't think it's safe. I don't think you should go. And he goes, Mom, what is wrong with you? Why don't you, just encourage me here? And I said, I think it's unsafe. So what ended up happening is, because the whole situation devolved so quickly, they pivoted to another unit that was closer over there, so they didn't get to go. And afterwards, he came up to me and said, Mom, me and my sergeants are really bummed out. We didn't get to go. And I was really stunned by that. It was like, wow, even knowing there's that much danger over there, they really wanted to do this. And I asked him why he felt that way. And he goes, it's because we're trained and it's what we do. And, I admire that courage, because I don't think everybody has the courage to run into the fire, just like firefighters or first responders or the military. So I really admire what they do. And that's why we give back to these kinds of causes, because they won't hesitate to run into danger to protect people. And I think it's amazing. So if you are thinking of making a move, maybe you're not ready now and you just want to get a good idea what your home will sell for if you are selling a home, you can go to my website, barbhasthebuyers.com, and click on that green button, Get Home Value, and we'll send you some really similar sales. And if you're thinking of moving soon, we can do a free in-home consultation on what to do and what not to do to get your house ready for sale. We'll go over all of our 700 buyers in waiting. We'll show up with instant cash offers and be able to give you a really good idea what your home will sell for in this market. My name is Barb Schlinker. I am the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice, and we're talking about why we honor those who serve and lost their lives during this Memorial Day. And next up, we're going to talk about what the military does to help them get into housing. Richard?
Barb, we're discussing the reason that we honor our veterans on this Memorial Day weekend. Tell us about what the service members are provided to help them with housing and how that works.
Well, one of the best benefits of being a service member is they offer the VA home loan guarantee. So basically, they guarantee the loan to the bank for the military member, and they give them 100% financing, no money down. Typically, the interest rates are about 0.5% less than current market rates, and they can use this benefit over and over again. So a lot of people, a lot of home sellers that aren't familiar with it are afraid that their selling costs are going to be higher, but that's actually a huge myth. The VA loan for the veteran is one of the easiest loans to get. The only criteria that's a little bit different than conventional loan is the house has to meet the loan guidelines, which means no peeling paint on the outside, no missing outlet covers, no missing stair rails, no broken windows, no safety hazards. So as long as your house meets that criteria, it'll be fine for VA. And even if it doesn't, you can ask the buyer to make those payments. And the other thing that they provide is what they call mortgage insurance, which is called the VA funding fee. So the veteran can actually buy a home, no money down, up into the millions of dollars if they qualify for the payment. If the borrower, though, after they purchase the home, cannot make their payments anymore and the lender has to foreclose, they get paid from the VA, they give the property to the VA, and then they turn around and resell it. Now, I've handled over 200 homes for the VA that have taken back in foreclosures in the last 10 years. Each and every one of them breaks my heart, because I don't think that should happen to veterans. But I think financial education in the school system is awful. And there are plenty of other options for homeowners that might be facing foreclosure. So a lot of them, just because of their lack of knowledge, they don't do anything. They don't try to sell it, but we can help them. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, because we can help you with that. And one more thing, one thing that's really red hot right now, offering your VA loan to be assumed, especially to another veteran, because there's no risk to you. I recently had a home seller that offered it, and the buyer came up with a difference in cash. And it actually saved that buyer over 500,000 across the life of the loan. They're assuming it closes this month, a mortgage that has a 2.25 interest rate. And it's just a tremendous gift to the buyer. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can always reach her at 719-301-3900. And if you're in your car and you can't listen to the entire show, don't worry about it. You can catch it on Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Has the Buyers, also on podcast as well. When we come back, we'll be talking about what house features home buyers are willing to give up to be able to purchase the home that they want.